All right. Very exciting day today. I have with me for the show Glen Caulkins, who I met probably a decade ago. Right, Glenn? I came
At
in,
least.
I came into your storefront. You sat me down and you gave me right around an hour lecture about what happened to water. When, who, why, where, and what of water. And I swear I walked out that day a little changed from that.
A lot of people, a lot of
Yeah,
people say
but
that.
from that day on, um, I've just never thought the same about it because of your approach to all those W's that I mentioned a moment ago.
Yeah.
So I why don't we just start this conversation? And believe me, anybody who's listening to this is going to get spicy and it's going to be lively. So pull on your big boy pants, your big girl pants, and get ready for a good time. So let's just start with water.
Okay, let's start with water and let's start with the biogeochemical cycles.
Oh, I love it.
Let's start with the ramification of fossil fuel combustion on the biogeochemical cycles. You have the hydrologic cycle, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the oxygen cycle, the sulfur cycle, the phosphate cycle, and the mineral cycle. But then you got to take it to another point, and that is the biogeochemical cycles are incomplete, fragmented, and never viewed as one operating system, which means we've screwed something up that we don't know what it is or how it works. The hydrologic cycle and the pollution cycle have become one. Most people don't understand that the pollution cycle and the hydrologic cycle have become one, or the fact that the life cycle and the water cycle are one, or what that means. In English, without intervention, we're going to go extinct. That's what that means. Air pollution equals water pollution. Last time I checked, acid rain was pervasive in the biosphere. And last time I checked, chemtrails, geoengineering was pervasive on planet Earth. Now I want to know where you're getting your water. Well, I got a Berkey. No, you're retarded, okay? Do you understand chemistry? Okay, you have chemistry H2O, CO2, H2CO3, H2CO3, stable 4 degrees Celsius, 98.5% of the Earth crust, made up of 8 elements, 7 of minerals, oxygen, silica, aluminum, iron, calcium. Come on. Okay, it's complicated. Okay, it's complicated. When you go into what happened and you go in and say, well, oh yeah, water's hard. Why? Why is the water hard? Well, the water's hard. Why? Because acid rain, that's why. Acid rain erodes the earth exponentially, which creates hard water because 98.5% of the earth crust is made up of 8 elements, 7 of the minerals: oxygen, silica, alumina, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, makes up 98.5% of the earth crust. And so acid rain eats up building, automobile, monument, statue, overpass, underpass, sidewalk, brick wall. Could be harsh. If you don't believe me, here's when we do a test. Okay, you could be a human guinea pig for us. You're gonna go out and you're gonna buy yourself a Kangen ionizer, 4 grand, and I want you to drink the acid water. If it's not toxic, I mean, if it's just a joke with ionizer, oh yeah, we're taking acid out of water. Hey, well, stop. What kind of acid? Huh? Well, we're taking acid out of water.
Which one?
Stop. What kind of acid? What do you mean you're taking acid out of water? Well, let me tell you what kind of acid they're taking out of water. You have sulfuric acid, nitric acid from acid rain, the two main components. But did you know when they added chlorine to the water, it reacted and made hypochlorous hydrochloric acid? And they didn't put fluoride in the water, they put hydrofluorosilicic acid, another one of the most corrosive acids known to man. They use bromine as a hydrodechlorination, remove haloacetic acids. Now it's chloramine, now that's 5-etoacids acids. And in some places like Florida, we have deep roots, you might have some tannic acid. But did you know there's an acid in water that belongs there called silicic acid? And you, by design, are a silicic acid being.
I did
It's the
not know that.
motherboard in your body, a silicic acid. That's who you are. You are a silicic acid being. But now we have in the equation sulfuric acid, nitric acid from acid rain, the chlorine, hypochlorous, hydrochloric, hydrofluorosilicic, haloacidic, etoacidic acids. And if you drink those acids, I can't help you. I can make you extravagant promises. I can sell you colorful band-aids. I can sell you CBD oil. You know as well as I do, if you're drinking volatile acids, which are incompatible to the human body, not designed for the human body, that you're going down. Yeah, bone density goes down naturally. Oh, well, stop. I think the bone density is going down because you know why? I'll tell you why. Your pancreas has 3 jobs, not 2. Insulin, glucose, digestive juices, and 3, did you know that your pancreas balances your pH? The job of the pancreas is, if nobody ever balances a pH, oh yeah, I gotta eat a certain way to balance. That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's the job of your pancreas. But when you consume these volatile acids, it mitigates what's called the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system of the blood. It lessens it. So your pancreas loses the ability to balance the pH of your body. It's some organic chemistry. Okay. So we have problems with water. We have acids. So you can't drink these acids. So I developed a process that's never been done before. And this is called selective deionization. Because reverse osmosis, acids are liquids and they go right through the filters. So all those passes go through it. Then use carbon, it doesn't affect. The only way you can't filter acids out of water, you have to buffer them. So I'll give you a choice. You can use your bones to buffer them and lose bone density, or you can listen to me and we have some exclusive cation, anion deionization resins that allow passage of weak acids and weak bases, which means we're going to pull out the sulfuric, nitric, hypochlorous, all those volatile acids, but we're going to allow passage of carbonic and silicic. Silicic being the basis of your human body. And if you DI that water with mixed bed resin, it pulls that out and it's no longer drinking water. So you have to leave the silicic acid. That's what defines drinking water, silicic acid. Okay. And then there's some minerals in water. We'll get into that in a second. Okay. So we did this process where we allow passage of silicic and carbonic and passage of sodium and chloride, and we run over magnesium. It took me 20 years of configuring different configurations to finally figure it out. I have done experiment after experiment for 20 years.
Yeah.
And last year, I finally got the final configuration that has absolutely zero smell, the crispest cleaning taste, money on the money, laboratory tested. And it's not just making shit up. It's laboratory tested. And what it is we got your state-of-the-art RO, and then we have what's called dual deionization. It's called selective deionization, new process. And then we have a dual remin with a triple carbon polish. And this one turned out the TDS is 40 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
The pH is 10.5. Which pH does they mean? People come on there. What's the pH? Oh, and now you're a fucking chemist, huh? Oh yeah, pH, huh? You know what it stands for? It stands for potential, not actual, potential hydrogen. And so what's that mean? Well, it's potentially. But did you know that potential Doesn't actually mean anything because acids and bases in sufficient quantities can offset each other. For instance, if you put a bunch of bases in water and you put some acid in there, it'll lower the pH.
Mm.
If you put acid in water and you put some bases in there, so the scientists kept coming in, they kept going, hey, we're checking the water, dude. pH is good. The pH is good. Yeah, why is it good? Because the acid rain eroded the earth, released all these extra bases, and it hid the acids in the water. And so the pH looked good, but the acids were still there.
Ah,
And that's what snuffed everybody. They're going, the pH is good. pH stands for potential. And acids and bases in sufficient quantity can offset each other.
mm-hmm.
So they mask it. You can't see them, but I'll guarantee they're in there. And if you don't believe me, like I said, go buy a Kangen water ionizer, which takes all the acid out of the water. So it's not even drinking water anymore. The salicylic acid is gone. So you're drinking unfiltered tap water with no acid in it at all. But then take that machine and then drink the acid water. Tell me how that works for you. Because that acid is in water.
Yeah.
Okay, that acid is in water. So you have to take it out. You can't just like, oh, well, we RO it and then we ionize it with a, it's like, I don't even know what that word means. Okay. What you're doing is you're running it over calcium. And then again, you're hiding the acid because acids are liquids. They're gases. They go through your membrane. You cannot filter acids out. You have to buffer them. That's chemistry. This is not what I'm making it up. This is, oh, well, this is hydrogen water. Shut up.
Yeah, you know
Please,
what?
shut up.
I'd like to spend a minute on those because those seem to be all the rage now.
Oh, yeah. Well, being an idiot is what's in right now. It's trending.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You can, oh, yeah, we got these supplements. They're dying. It's like, I don't care what supplements you think are good. It's the most, if you don't have, the food is shit, all right? I don't care. The fertilizer was a weapon of mass destruction. That's all I'm going to say on that one.
And what year was that, Glenn?
1850.
So
1803, 1873. Justus von Liebig, the chemical gatekeeper,
there
the
it is.
father of the fertilizer industry. The guy made Einstein look like a retard. Doctor, veterinarian, botany, agriculture, chemistry, organic chemistry. The guy knew the biogeochemical cycles in the 1800s. Homosexual, didn't go over that big. Like most geniuses, couldn't make money. In spite of his problems, he was a great man. And we'll continue with that story later. We're going back to water now. Okay. So we're
Do
going
it.
to water. Okay. I don't care
Yeah.
what pills you take. The water, you're 70%. The fertilizer, nightmare. But now it's, oh, yeah. So, what we did, we figured out the vegetables were shit. So now we're just eating meat. Listen to me, Einstein. Acid rain kills the alkaline microbes, mutates the acidic ones, and it releases aluminum exponentially. Remember oxygen, silica, alumina, second most prevalent mineral in the earth crust? Aluminum impedes the carrying capacity of water to transport nutrients. So the acid rain and the chem dust, which is coal fly ash,
Mm-hmm.
comes down, kills the microbes. So now it's acid rain on steroids with the chem dust on top of the acid rain, knocks the nitrogen cycle out. Plants aren't converting anymore. It's a complex process for a plant to convert from an inorganic to usable form. And we'll touch on this later, but I'll just say basically you have the fungal hypha root, matrix, polysaccharide, 35,000 bacteria, 5,000 funguses, things working symbiotically for the plants to give birth, to get nutrients from the trees to come in to convert this major process from an inorganic encapsulated metallic and a carbanion and convert it to an organic plant-based mineral. It's complicated. We'll go on that later. We're slowing water to the food's bad. Okay, so now the plants are growing, the grass, but it's not bringing up 84 inorganics. That's what it's bringing up, a bunch of crap, metals.
Yeah.
It's not converting. Okay, the cows are drinking acid rain, and the grass looks like grass, but it ain't grass. That's why, we're just eating rice. It's like, are you insane? Have you thought about, okay, monocrop, chemical intensive, pesticide laden NPK produce? Can you fathom what that even means? No. Did on the farmer's market. Yeah, I looked at your farmer. He looked like he was dying. Is that what I'm going to get from this shit? I mean, if the guy had the bag, he'd probably be looking good, right?
Yeah.
The guy's shot. You know why? Because the soil is shot, dead, depleted, contaminated, overused, monocrop, chemical intensive atrocities of the Industrial Revolution farming technique. Okay? Compounded by now your cow has metabolic acidosis from the acid rain and the chem dust, and it's malnourished. I got more answers than you got questions. And I'm just getting warmed up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back and say, okay, that's a lot of shit, man. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So we're going to go back. We're going to stick with water, right? If I'm going to build you a house, you got to listen to me, okay? I'm 70 years old. I'm killing it. Very blessed, feel good. A lot of things coming. I don't have a doctor. I don't get sick. The amazing thing is I figured all this stuff out. My wife doesn't get sick. She's happy. She got a horse. She's riding 4 or 5 times a week. Things are pretty good. Okay. So we're going to talk about water. You can't filter the acids out. And if you don't believe they're in there, buy a Kangen and drink the acid water and drop the message and tell us how to work for you. I guarantee you'll have tumors the size of grapefruits. Why? Because cancer is our body's attempt to survive a condition we won't, metabolic acidosis. And you want me to prove that to you? Did you know that wild animals are dying of cancer at the same rate as humans? 1 out of 10, 10%. No Jack Daniels, no burgers, no chips, no fries, no seed oils,
No Diet
no
Coke.
metabolic optimizers, wild animals dying at the same rate as humans, 1 out of 10, 10%. And what's the common denominator? Acid rain and chem dust. Don't believe me?
You can't avoid those.
Buy a Kangen.
Yeah.
Drink that wastewater.
You know,
Texas, tell us how it works.
we brought Deb and I brought a good friend of ours in, and she had bought a Kangen. And after listening to you for the hour,
Yeah.
she bought an under-the-counter system and got rid of her Kangen. Because when you present facts, people have 2 directions they can go, right or wrong, up or down, left or right. Unless they can really take in those facts, even if they go against everything they think that they believe, they may still just make the wrong decision. It is incredible.
Yeah, you're around me for a while. Either you're gonna take the blue pill or the red pill. There's no more decisions.
There's no purple pill.
No.
It's this
You're
or
gonna take
that.
the blue. You're gonna walk away and say, no, you're raining on my parade, dude. It ain't happening.
He's totally
You don't understand how much I got my shit together. No, I do. Trust me. Because here, let me explain for the people that don't know me. Here I am. Okay, I'm a recovering drug addict. So, I get clean at 30 years old. So I get in recovery, open up 13 recovery homes, take over 5,000 people off the street. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do drugs, went to the gym, handfuls of vitamins, protein powder, supplements, little meat, little chicken, little fish, massive amounts of raw vegetables, wearing out champion juicer, going through blade after blade after blade, after champion after blade after blade.
We have one
Three-time
of those.
national three-time national champion snowboarder, surfer, bodybuilder, yoga. I'm doing it all right. Almost killed me. I went to the doctor. He said, I have degenerative disease, your lower back and your neck, arthritis, your lower back, your neck, pinched nerve in your neck and your back. You never get better some pain pills. I'm like, no, dude, look at me. I'm buffed as shit, dude. Check this shit out. I'm the man. Look at me. He says, yeah, there's the x-rays. We're going to need to put you on pain pills. I'm like, no. He says, it's over. And we need to fuse your neck and your back. And I went, wait a second. If you fuse my neck and my back, I did a little homework. 3 years, 4 years later, you're going to fuse the discs underneath it. He goes, this is generally how it works. I'm like, no. I can't go down like this. So I studied and I studied and I studied. And at this time, I didn't know that I was a genius, okay? I was just like, thought I was just normal, right? I'd studied spirituality, but I'd never studied chemistry, anatomy, biology. So I taught myself a little bit about being a doctor, veterinarian, botany, agriculture, chemistry, organic chemistry, biogeochemical cycles, biosphere, ecosystem, anthropology, geology, biology, anatomy, biological physics, geological physics, gerontology, alchemy, allopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, naturopathic medicine, holistic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda medicine, chiropractic theology, and a whole lot more. As a matter of fact, an example of my vocabulary and my understanding of where I'm sitting at right now, third rock from the sun, right? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, they shit can Pluto. I could take them the core of the Earth to the mantle, to the crust, which is our lithosphere, pedosphere, and geosphere, to the atmosphere we're breathing right now is the preplosphere, to the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, magnetosphere, heliosphere. That's from the core of our Earth to the magnetic bubble that encompasses our solar system, which didn't include the ozone layer and the ozone layer and the ionosphere, and the galactic trade winds that travel up to 1,000,000 miles an hour. Our sun in the Milky Way galaxy is one of 100 to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way galaxy is one of 2 trillion plus galaxies in this universe. But now the logical question at this point is how many universes are in the multiverse? It's big, folks. And here we are, dirt clod Earth, nothing to drink, nothing to bathe in, and virtually nothing to eat. Games on, balls in our court. Play the game or be played.
It's a lot.
It's big, real big. I got a handle on it. I used to not know anything, obviously. Now I know a little bit. People say, man, you're smart. I said, if I was smart, dude, I'd be making dogs and eyeballs and kangaroos and shit. I ain't smart. But I had enough brain to say, I really think I'll check the food and water supply.
Right? Get to the very
That was pretty smart.
Get to the very
Yeah, I think we should check the food and water supply.
Yeah, do that
And
first.
I did. Yeah, and then that's why I got sick. And then I figured out the elements, how everything is supposed to work. And then I reverse engineered it. Now I'm back and I'm blessed. And I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just a regular idiot that got sick, that fixed himself. And now I want to tell people what a fantastic thing God has done for me.
Well, I know what the normal starting point is not looking at your water and where you're getting your food. But when your body starts to go to shit, what do people look for now? Peptides, growth hormone, testosterone, every manner of, and I think this word has become very overused, biohack.
Oh, yeah. See, in the Bible, Methuselah lived to be 969 years old. He woke up saying, "Hey, Noah, dude, check this shit out. I got this red light and these glasses, dude. And what we're doing is we're juicing. God didn't know what he was doing. So we're pulling the fiber out of this shit and plugging ourselves into the wall." Are you fucking an idiot? What do you even listen to me? Methuselah, 969. Noah, 950. But listen to this shit. The Alatine priest in Atlantis, 8 kings that they called the kings. I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
What's it called? The King's Slate.
Okay.
Yeah, from Atlantis, Alatine. Okay. Is a block from Atlantis they got from under the ocean. 8 kings reigned for 242,500 years. They lived 15 to 30,000 years. These things were made to live for hundreds, if not thousands of years. We're getting 100 years out of it, no food or water. I think we can do better than that.
You think so?
I think we can do better than that. And it's not in pills and potions and bullshit and plugging yourself into the wall. You have some very basic stuff. You have pre-mortal at the earliest point of creation. Then you have pre-flood environment. Then you have post-flood environment. And I'll tell you, along with the water and hydration thing, which you got to do a couple tweaks because of pre-flood and post-flood environmental conditions, but I'll just give you one little thing of wisdom. And that is pre-flood, there was a firmament around the planet, a cloud. So we were designed to hydrate through the lungs. And fog is H2CO3, carbonic acid, because CO2, H2O in the air needs to ionize itself. And the first thing it grabs is carbon dioxide. And so it turns into H2CO3, carbonic acid. So you're hydrating through the lungs with carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is stable at 4 degrees Celsius. So you're inhaling carbonic acid, and through your lungs, water can get into your body, not through the skin. Through the lungs, it can get into your body. That's why you drown. Water comes into the lungs, and that is part of the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system of the blood. So what we do is not only the Huns is, it's complicated, we'll get it next time. But the Huns is drinking glacier milk, ice cold glacier water, because that's a lower surface tension, so it can hydrate the body better. But we go in and I have 2 air washer humidifiers putting H2O, which turns into H2CO3, and I hydrate through the lungs, me and my wife, because we went to the traditional Chinese doctor, said, your lungs are shot. I'm like, well, I'm 70 years old, you know? He goes, no, your lungs are like, they're weak. You could tell. And my wife, same thing. And then my dog was in bed. So I'm like, oh, fuck, we're supposed to hydrate through the lungs. So I bought these humidifiers and put in a room. My wife's lungs got better. My lungs got better. And the dog's lungs got better.
Petey?
So we hydrate through the lungs because I guarantee you, if you're on this planet, you will dehydrate to death because you can't drink enough water because you're designed to hydrate through the lungs. So we hydrate through the lungs while we sleep, and then to compensate it, I'll just hit you a little tons of thing. Okay. Water has what's called an asymmetric bond. 2 hydrogen bonds form off to the side, asymmetric bond. Everything else, hydrogen bonds on the end, called symmetrically bond. Water's not even from this planet. It was brought here from someplace else in space, okay? Water is not from this planet because the hydrogen got an asymmetric bond. But between 4 and 12 degrees Celsius, the hydrogen bonds tighten up to conserve energy. This lowers the surface tension of water. Surface tensions bubble on top of a glass, and insect can walk over it. Okay, high surface tension. Warm water irrigates the body, it can't get into the cell. Cold water has a lower surface tension, and it can get into the cell. Okay, well, if that's true, where's the living example? Well, the Hunses in the Himalayan mountain, they drank ice cold glacier milk. It had 9,000 milligrams per liter calcium bicarbonate. So us, like the Hunses, we drink ice cold glacier milk. Why? Because we're compensating, because during the day, we're dehydrating all day long. Only at night do we get to hydrate through the lungs. So while we sleep. So all day to compensate for that, we're drinking ice water. People didn't, people got 60 to 70% of their water, between 80% between hydrating through the lungs and the food they ate. Now you dehydrate with every breath of the water and the food. I got to combat that water.
Hmm.
I got to combat the water that you're getting in the meat. I got to combat the water that you're getting in the produce. Okay. So what I do, I drink magnesium mountain milk. We have a product called Electrolyte Balanced Gold. And what we do is we take carbonated pristine hydro water, H2CO3, carbonic acid water, and we have bases, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and chloride. And then we have silica in there. And this process converts carbonic acid into silicic acid, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium bicarbonate, and chloride. So calcium bicarbonate contracts the muscle, magnesium bicarbonate relaxes the muscle. You have the sodium potassium pump, and they have what's called the chloride shift, which is part of the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system of the blood. It's a little complicated, right? Yeah, I thought so. So here's what you do. I don't know what the guy said, but I'll have what he's having. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I see this in quick YouTube advertisements, but it's something that's been going around a long time. You'll get these advocates of drinking or saying that ice cold water is not good for you.
I
It's
don't care what anybody says.
it's a shock to the system. It's all
Okay, here's the deal. I'm telling you the chemistry, and then I'm showing you the Hunzas. I'm over it. Okay,
yeah.
you guys can tell me anything. You guys couldn't even tell me that the fertile. Listen, I'm the one calling it. Okay, the fertilizer, folks. Listen to this. Was a weapon of mass destruction. I'm calling it because I know where it happened and how it happened. Adam Westhoff, Gestapo Massini. I know where it happened. I went into the German archive and went in and found all the information on the NPK. And then it unleashed into this thing called the element game. And you're in the element game,
Right now.
but you don't know the elements, which you better hope I'm nice, and they weren't. So I went in and studied the entire thing. And by the grace of God, yeah, all makes sense now. It's not that complicated once you figure it out. So what you want is you want to drink ice water, like the Hunzas. I ain't making this shit up. I didn't think of it. I say, hey, Hunzas, these guys been living for a long time. They're drinking this highly buffered water. Okay, sounds good to me. Oh no, dude, you're gonna fuck your digestion. You can't. Oh, see, the Hunzas, what they would do is they, after they ate, they couldn't drink that ice cold, pristine. Well, actually, wasn't even pristine. It probably had acids in it. But because the TDS was so high, it was buffering it.
Yeah, yeah. That makes
So
sense.
that covered the acids, which were giving you 110, 120, 130. But we know 950. And if I'm wrong, you know what? I'm good with being wrong. But at least I'm not driving around like some moron in a Porsche going, oh, yeah, how do I look? Well, actually, you look retarded, okay? There's starving people and the food shit and the water shit. And we should sit down at a table and we should make the world a better place. Because the only thing I take with me when I lead this dirt clod is the good shit that I've done. So it's time to get to work. It ain't Disneyland. Well, it actually is Disneyland. Anything your heart desires, except there's nothing to drink, nothing to bathe in, nothing to eat. Good fucking luck. Right?
It's
So the
always like
water's bad. We know what to
it's
do
always
about
lively, Glenn.
it. Huh?
It's always lively.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it simple, dude. They all, hey, don't tell them everything, dude. They're gonna go crazy on you. It's like, listen to me. I'm okay with a clean shot between the eyes. I really don't give a fuck. But I'll tell you what, just don't be pulling my nails and shit, all right? I've already been through enough. I was shooting dope, dodging cop, popping caps, making money 24/7, 365, complete out of control, addict, alcoholic, lunatic. Alcoholic parents. I don't blame myself for the whole thing. My brother was a drug addict. You know, shit happens, shit's made, shit rolls downhill, it'll roll uphill if you push it. Get over it, right? Here I am. This ain't my first rodeo.
But it's a much
Let's make
better
the
one.
world a better place,
Yeah, it's a much
right?
better rodeo.
Much better. You know, hell getting here, dude. And then I get in recovery and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I got this shit. Bam, I get, oh, I'm dying, right? Couldn't even move. You know, these people can't even figure out they can't bend.
No, they can't.
Can't they're like, oh yeah, well not everyone's in the gym on a foam roller. Oh, 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 oh. It's like, uh, oh, that's normal. Oh, oh yeah, everybody hurts. You guys check the food and water supply out? Oh yeah, dude, we're organic, dude. I got a Kangen. It's dope, dude. Curing fucking midgets with this shit. Like, shut the fuck up. Guys crack me up. Oh yeah, we got these pills. It's $49.99. You sign up for a prescription for these things. Your knees will come back in 3 months. It's like, shut up. You know why your knees gone? Because the water's bad. That's why. You know why your back's bad? Because the water's bad.
Yeah, you're simply eroding.
It's something. Here's the choice. You can use our resins or you can use your bones. The choice is yours. Blue pill, red pill. You want to use your bones? This guy's soccer was a. I did something on my neck on my mountain bike. But, I was at chiropractor yesterday, and the guy shows me. He goes, "Look at this guy's toe," and I went, "Oh my!" God. He has a gout, dude. This guy, so much acid. The body stores the acid at the farthest place, so it always stores it in the toes, right?
Uh-huh.
This poor guy's toe was just pulverized. That guy has gout. Dude. Can you see this? So the best thing you can use for acid problems is electrolyte balance, and that's because as an electrolyte. See, let me explain electrolytes to you. Calcium contracts, magnesium relaxes the muscle. Calcium contracts the muscle, magnesium relaxes it. You have the sodium potassium pump. Then you have something called the chloride shift. The chloride shift is 60 to 70% of the carbon dioxide in your blood mixes with water and red blood cells, and it makes carbonic acid, right?
Mhm.
Carbonic acid in an alkaline solution, stable at 4 degrees Celsius. So it kicks the hydrogen ion off and it goes from H2CO3 to HCO3 and a free H. HCO3 is a bicarbonate ion. The chloride pushes the bicarbonate ion out of the cell called the chloride shift or the hamburger shift. Guy's name is Hamburger. The chloride pushes the bicarbonate out of the cell. Then this bicarbonate is unstable, so it looks for the sea salt in your blood and it makes bicarbonate salts called the chloride shift. Now, in water, that free hydrogen I told you comes up and grabs the silica, converts to silicic acid. In the body, it doesn't do that. In the body, that free hydrogen ion comes up and it regulates what's called the Bohr effect, which is going to regulate carbon dioxide and oxygen in your body by how much free hydrogen is coming off that chloride shift. Okay, so the way that nature makes bicarbonates in water and the way that your body makes bicarbonates is the same, except for in water, it converts to silicic acid, the free hydrogen. And in the body, it regulates oxygen and carbon dioxide. And that's the organic chemistry that I learned from Victor Schwaberger. Because Victor was reading his books and he goes, yeah, carbonic acid is stable at river water between 4 degrees. at 4 degrees Celsius. And I'm like, okay, then what? He went on. I'm like, no, 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 no. You just said something. You said carbonic acid is stable in river water at 4 degrees Celsius. What happens? And that was the missing link because I worked on water
Uh-huh.
for 15 years until I finally completed. I just patented a new cycle called the Caulkins cycle, which is I added information to the hydrologic cycle and I added information to the carbon cycle. And I patented a new cycle called the Caulkins cycle, which is the interaction of the new hydrologic cycle and the new carbon cycle, the complex processes that nature takes to make pristine drinking water. So I patented that thing, but I worked on that paper for 15 years. I found that from Schwaber, and then I was having a meeting with the guy that makes my resins, and I said, here's my machine. What do you think? And he went, oh my God. He goes, that is brilliant. He goes, those are my resins. He goes, I make those. He goes, I've never seen anyone use them like that. And I go, yeah, it's going to allow passage of carbonic. And he goes, yeah, it's going to allow passage of carbonic and how do you say that? Silicic acid. I said, what'd you say? He goes, I think it's silicic acid. And nobody else in the meeting, all my other people didn't hear it. Man, as soon as I went home, I was silicic acid. Oh, that because I know that hydrogen isn't stable in water. Water don't like it. Water wants to stabilize it. So equilibrium balances stuff out. So water don't like free hydrogen. So I'm like, where's it going? H3O? It's alternate hydronium? No, no, where's it going? And then he told me that, and then I went over and found the chemistry because I found that organic chemistry of H2O, CO2, H2, CO3 kicks hydrogen. That was off, and that had never been applied to the biogeochemical cycle or anatomy. So I took Schwaber's chemistry, which I found way over in the chemistry books, but it hadn't been applied to the biogeochemical cycles or anatomy. Then when the guy said silicic acid, I said, that's where, and then I figured out that the carbonic converted to silicic, and we were silicic acid beings, and bam, I finished my paper, which I'd been working on for 15 years.
Well, first of all, congratulations on that, taking that many schools of thought and finding those commonalities to create something worthwhile.
Yeah.
And by worthwhile, I can say life-saving.
Starting with me. A bitch that hurt. Damn. Kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Because something gets you motivated though, right?
Yeah. Well, I remember when I noticed on the bicarbonate mineral salt bottles when you added the silica to it.
Yeah.
And that piqued my interest.
That was that from that.
My thought was, uh-oh, Glenn found something again.
Yeah, that was exactly it. Because I knew there was a free hydrogen floating around. And I knew that some of it was going to H3O. I was good with that. But I know water. I'm like, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
It's not all heavy water. It's not. Where's it going? And then the guy told me, and I went in, I found the chemistry, and I added up. I was just so stoked. I went, yes, I knew it. I had figured out that in the Bohr effect was we're doing, because the Bohr anatomy, the anatomy's off too. They're saying an enzyme is what kicks the hydrogen ion off, but it's not. That's organic chemistry. That's the nature of H2CO3.
Yeah.
But seeing H2CO3 carbonic acid because evaporation, transpiration, condensation, precipitation, H2O. H2O, hunger for ions, brings in carbon dioxide. So now you have H2CO3. H2CO3 coming down through the ozone layer, ozone, O3 donates an O ion. So it was actually raining H2CO4 percarbonic acid. That's what rainwater was. H2O, 3, H3O, extra oxygen, right? peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, carbonic acid. So H2O, CO2 plus an extra O, H2CO4 per carbonic acid. That was rainwater. Per carbonic acid, stable at 4 degrees Celsius. That acid erodes the earth and it releases minerals optimally and relatively according to the abundance of the mineral and the earth crust and its specific density. For example, 98.5% of the earth crust made up of 8 elements, 7 of minerals, oxygen, silica, aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, makes up 98.5% of the earth crust. So the acid rain releases a little bit of silica, super hard. Releases some aluminum, hard. Now, iron is normally in what's called a BIF, a banded iron formation, and it's not all over the earth. And inorganic iron isn't really a constitute or a wanted ingredient in drinking water. So let's pull the iron out because these morons put iron shavings in our food under the guise of iron fortification. And then if you look at the toilet, it's all iron. And you look at the pool, there's iron everywhere. So we have what's called systemic iron overload. That's a whole other subject because once inorganic iron enters the human body, there's normally no physiological mechanism to dispose of excess iron unless one considers menstrual bleeding women. So how are you getting the iron out? We'll go into that later. Okay, I'm coming back to water, iron, eroding the earth, iron everywhere. Can't get lost. It's a deep game, right? That rabbit hole is deep, baby. Okay, so now we're coming back. And we're at the iron in the water. So we're going to pull iron out. So now we got silica, alumina, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium. But the sodium was halite, and that's rock salt, and that's sodium chloride. So that's where the chloride comes from in water. So the acid rain erodes silica, alumina, calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride in the water. Now, those are bases and they satisfy the water's desire for ion. So it no longer needed that carbon dioxide and it warms up. And the carbonic acid is stable in 4 degrees Celsius. So it warms up, kicks the hydrogen ion up. It comes up and grabs the silica, converts to silicic acid. Now the HCO3, the bicarbonate, does what? It wants to stabilize itself and it pulls in calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium hydroxide because these are sizes. And after the acid rain releases these minerals and knocks them down from oxides to carbonate to hydroxides. And once they get to a hydroxide size and the carbonic acid warms up, the HCO3, the bicarbonate ion, like a magnet, pulls in the hydroxides, and that's what bicarbonate salts are. And they are nutrients that are only in water. Calcium, magnesium, bicarbonate are only found in liquid form. They're not in apples. They're not in spinach. They're not in nuts. They're not in food. They're nutrient specific to water. Now you can get sodium, potassium bicarbonate in powdered form, but not calcium, magnesium. The only way you're going to get magnesium inside of the cell if it's attached to 2 bicarbonate ions and in its natural transporting medium, water. That's intercellular magnesium bicarbonate. 2 bicarbonate ions because the valence, the electrons in the outer shell and the electrons in the magnesium to transport it into the cell it has to be attached to 2 bicarbonate ions. Water. Oh, yeah, I drink distilled water. You're a moron, okay? You're stripping every mineral out of
all of it.
Your electrolytes. You need water. There was drinking water, and drinking water had silicic acid, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, bicarbonate, and chloride. Okay, what about the aluminum? The silicic acid naturally binds with aluminum, again, makes hydroxyl aluminosilicate, and it makes aluminum unbioavailable. Silicic acid, I'll say that again, naturally binds with aluminum, makes hydroxyl aluminosilicate. 90 days, their studies, 10 milligram per liter, Silicic acid in water removes 60 to 70% of the aluminum from the brain. I'll say that again. Silicic acid, 10 milligram per liter in water, 90 days, 60 to 70% of the aluminum from the brain gone. And I got the process that makes silicic acid and magnesium bicarbonate. Bingo.
I'll be, and I'm going to be gone for 1 second. I'm going to grab the product you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, this is an older version. Oh, he's gone too.
Oh, I just walked up. Yeah. That's when we have a new one called EB Gold, which comes with the carbonated water, because a typical person has trouble, buying a water machine and then carbonating the water,
Yeah,
which for people like us is becomes natural. But some people, it's easier just to get the carbonated water, which is
yeah,
my carbonated water, in cans. The cans are aligned with a food grade epoxy, so no leaching of aluminum. Stick packs, mix it up, and it makes it fresh, and it's like it's the ticket.
yeah.
If you don't do that, it could be worse. It could be me.
You mean you mean what you're I think you're trying to say is with a little bit of effort, you can change a lot of things around for the better.
I'm
It's that simple,
really
right?
grateful and really happy and really blessed, and I'm not motivated by chump change. I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm a really smart guy that's very gifted. And my gifts were not to come to this dirt clod and search for money because my father owns everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to be a regular, nice person to make the world a better place. The only thing I'm going to take with me is the wisdom that I acquire here. And I think this is a cosmic classroom with lessons in love and healing and wisdom and understanding and all these things. I don't think these things are problems. I think they're challenges.
Yeah.
And I think we can use these things to grow where we would have never grown and to get priorities where there was never any and to teach us, what's really valuable because everybody's bullshit. Musk, okay? Good guy, okay? I'm not down on anybody. Okay? The dude's taking, what's he taking? Ketamine? Because he's depressed?
It's probably driving around in
That's
electric cars. Talk about the worst non-native EMF you could ever.
ketamine. Ketamine for depression, magnesium deficiency. Oh, here's the deal. I come to this dirt clod, alcoholic parents, being poisoned, legs are tightening up. I don't feel good. I got ADHD from a magnesium deficiency. I'm pissed off. I'm in good shape. I hate everything. My parents are crawling around the fucking house, right? My brother's shooting dope, dodging cop, popping caps, making money. Okay. I looked around. I'm going nuts. Okay. And then I found drugs. I found heroin. And I went, oh, I'm okay. Alcohol was such a mess. I mean, pissing on yourself, crashing cars, a complete disaster, especially when you drink like your parents.
Yeah.
Then obviously that doesn't work. So then I get in recovery. And then I'm still going crazy. Until then I figured out, oh, okay, I probably ruined myself taking all those drugs. So now I just exercise like a lunatic and then I'll feel better. And then I exercise and then blew up from over exercising. These people, they think they go, I'm manic, baby. I'm manic the time. So I'm on, right? So I blow up, right? And then I'm like, fuck, what happened? Now I thought it was, killing it. And then I started teaching myself all this chemistry and all this shit. And then I make up the mag and I just went, motherfucker. I knew it.
Was that
I
all there was
knew
to it?
it. My whole life, like Morpheus in the Matrix, is my whole life. I knew there was something wrong with the world. like a splinter in my eye, but I couldn't figure it out. And then I figured it out. You son of a bitch. But I figured it out. Yeah, it's when you go into the elements, okay. You're in the element game, okay. When you
Yeah.
go into the elements and you learn the elements, there is one way. This is not Glen's way. This is nature. This is chemistry. This is not a debate. This isn't my opinion. This is how shit works.
This is the
The
periodic
elements are
table.
complicated.
Yeah,
Huh?
this is the periodic table. These are the elements. You can't get around
Listen
them.
to the periodic table has specific groups. For
Mhm.
instance, the 17 section of the periodic table is the halogens: chlorine, fluorine, bromine, iodine, and acetane. And they hit us with 4 out of 5 because acetane's rare. The reason that these elements are isolated in this category is because the valence, their valence, the electrons in the outer shell, is why they're similar. So halogens compete for assimilation, compete for binding sites.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so chlorine competes with iodine. Okay, and bromine competes with iodine. And fluorine competes with iron. You know, the dose of fluoride in the water is the same dose that we used in the mid 70s in the UK to suppress hyperthyroid, overactive thyroid. The dose that's in our water. They were medically using it to knock the thyroid out.
It's a money game, man.
Everybody's getting fat. Yeah, I noticed that shit, dude. Yeah, well, halogens compete for assimilation, compete for binding sites.
Not unlike
Okay.
carbon monoxide and oxygen in blood,
Yeah.
right? They're
There's
oh,
the periodic table. So every mineral has a signature pH, which is assimilates into the body. Magnesium, sodium have wide assimilation ranges. Narrows for more calcium, potassium, more for manganese and iron, more for copper and zinc, and more for iodine. So if your pH is off a little bit, your body rejects iodine.
hmm.
Okay, just let's think about this. These people set this up and they come in and say, man, look at you, son of a bitches, with all them goiters. We need to put some iodine in that salt for you. Wait, aren't you guys the ones that poison the water? That's right, chlorine. And now you're telling me I need iodine in my salt. That's right. And fluoride for my teeth. You're catching on. And calcium. Mm-hmm. The game's rigged, folks.
And you
Rigged.
and you just thought it was Morton salt with a cute little girl with an umbrella.
When it
What
rains, it pours, baby.
what harm can that do?
Yeah.
More than you
The
ever
game was
know.
deep. It's not the sodium chloride and salt that's the problem. It's the absence of the building block. Because sodium and chloride, without the building blocks, when the chloride pushes bicarbonate out of the cell, it can't make calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium bicarbonate. And I believe it's hard to say they got the thing so screwed up. There's probably 10 other bicarbonates that are made out of sea salt in
Mhm.
your body. There's different bicarbonates. Everything is fouled up on the net. These morons destroyed the internet with nothing to drink, nothing to bathe in, and nothing to eat. They go in there, yeah, they're learning too much. We'll wipe the internet out. Like, wait a second. The water's like bad. No. Yeah, so now they ruined the internet. They wrote millions of articles of complete bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
And now misinformation and disinformation and lies and information overload. You got people running around saying so much shit. I'm like, it sounds good, but you can't even figure out the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system of the blood. I have a, if you go to, if you want to, if you want to learn, if anybody listening wants to learn some of my stuff, I have some beautiful papers that on glencaulkins.com, next level longevity. And if you want to learn like the coolest thing, which coming down the chute, is there was a guy in the 30s. I have an article on the pancreas. Okay, it's called acid alkaline balance. It's about the pancreas on glencaulkins.com and articles. And you'll read that, and it's all about the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system. It's like 20 pages or something. And then at the bottom of that, I found the holy grail. There was a guy, Dr. Beeler, in the 30s. Beeler was way ahead of his time, but he actually didn't know what he was talking about. But Beeler had this test. He loved this test. He goes, we're checking for mineral reserves. I said, what? So he had a chart, and what he would do is he would give people a baseline salivary saliva test with pH paper, and he'd check the baseline. And then he'd give them 5 sips of lemon juice and water in a tablespoon. Boom, rinse the mouth out, spit it out, rinse the mouth out. So we do a baseline test. And then every minute thereafter, he'd check the pH, and he would go in and he would check. And so he built a chart. And this was in the early 30s, so the acid rain wasn't as heavy. And chlorine, hypochlorous, hydrochloric aren't really super hard acids. So you have generally healthy to some degree people. So he had a pretty good feedstock for people to test. So Beeler came up with this chart. You do a baseline salivary test, 1 minute 5 after, and you see the acid comes in, hits, goes down to 4.5, and then the pancreas starts kicking bicarbonates out to balance the pH of the body. And it comes back up, and sure enough, it'll alkalize you. So people say, oh, yeah, I'm taking acid, lemon juice to alkalize myself. Well, that works if your pancreas is working. But your pancreas isn't working. I guarantee it. Take Beeler's test. So at the end of my pancreas article, I have the test and I have Beeler's chart. And what Beeler didn't even know, because the anatomy of the pancreas off, he was checking for mineral reserves all right, but he didn't clarify that he was testing the pancreas. That's what he was doing.
So the lemon
If
juice
you're
just stays acid. If you just
huh?
if you're just taking lemon juice, it just stays acid.
It makes you sicker.
You, okay.
It drains your pancreas.
Yeah. So the pancreas
Because
uses the lemon juice, the acid.
because watch. Here's the equation, okay?
Hmm.
It's chemistry, okay? People know chemistry. H2O and CO2 is H2CO3. And now there's an arrow in between these two. So H2O and CO2 is H2CO3 equals, with an arrow, but the arrow goes both ways, HCO3 and an H. H2CO3, HCO3 and an H, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the arrow goes both ways. So if you're drinking all this sulfuric acid, nitric acid, hypochlorous, hydrochlorous, hydrofluorosilicic, haloacidic, etoacidic acids, and then you're a moron and you're drinking apple cider vinegar, acidic acid, and then you're taking citric acid, the free hydrogen from this converts bicarbonate back to carbonic acid. The arrow goes both ways.
Yeah.
So if you have all this free hydrogen cation from these acids floating around, your body makes a bicarbonate, and the acid converts it back into carbonic acid. So this is called the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system of the blood is mitigated by cation hydrogen in excess in the body, because you're supposed to be a silicic acid being, but you're no longer a silicic acid being. And now you're not hydrating through the lungs, so your body's not going to get as much carbon dioxide into the lungs, which is carbonic acid, into the blood to the chloride to push out to grab the minerals to make the bicarbonate salt to store in the pancreas. It's fucking complicated, dude. Okay?
It was a lot.
Oh, the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system of the blood is mitigated by two things, lessened. One, not hydrating through the lung. Two, cation hydrogen poisoning. So Beeler did a test and he was checking the pancreas, and I have that test. I've tested hundreds and hundreds of people, okay? The majority of people, they'll come in, it'll go straight to the bottom and it'll flatline. Pancreas doesn't even kick. Other people who are super acidic, it'll come in, it'll drop down, it'll go straight to 8.5 and over, because those people are in ammonia cycle. When you hit acute metabolic acidosis, the first thing that happens, you buffer your bones. When that stops working, the body has to go into a called ammonia cycle. The liver will start producing ammonia. Body didn't like ammonia too much, so it converts it to what's that shit called? Uric acid.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll convert the ammonia to urea, which is another base, to cool the acid down.
Uh-huh.
And when that doesn't work, you'll see the person going hydrating, trying to bring fog, which isn't there, into the lungs to activate the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffering system blood by hydrating through the lungs. Body's pretty smart, right? But now you're not hydrating through the lungs, so that is not making enough bicarbonate in the cell, which the chloride is going to push out. But when it pushes it out, the bicarbonate converts back to carbonic acid from all the free hydrogen. It's complicated, right?
So I think what you're saying is this is a really good option.
Yeah, unless you don't need your bones, you know. So this is going to help compete against the bad water you're getting in meat, against the bad water you're getting in vegetables. And the whole thing is, don't worry about anything. That'll kill you faster than the poisons. Stress is ridiculous. This is not a problem. This isn't an overwhelming problem. It's a spiritual challenge. Get a grip on it. These things are absolutely necessary for spiritual development, to work into a relationship with God, to be able to see the glorious reality behind this world of seeming. Everything's okay. Get a grip on it. Ah! Shut up. Get over it. You don't understand. I had my ass whipped. I understand. Trust me. Funky parents, blah, 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 blah. Poor baby. And here we are. What are you going to do about it?
Still running on your childhood
trauma? We're going to
trauma?
blame it on. You don't understand. Listen. Keep your chin up. Don't worry, it'll get worse. And in between all that crap, hopefully Friday I get to go riding again. Woo-hoo.
Mm-hmm.
I got some kick-ass mountain bikes, baby.
Oh, I know you do. I'm back in the hills again. I took a little break and spent more time on the sand doing wind sprints.
Wind sprints?
Oh yeah, that is the king of exercises.
Mountain bikes, baby. I love mountain bikes.
Oh, I know you do. I do as well, but sprinting is the king of movements. So
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, let's take a minute and go through, right? So you have multiple units. You've got and we have the travel or the countertop, because we didn't want to put it on these 52-year-old pipes, right? But then you have the under counter, which God, my wife and I have probably turned 30 people onto. It's an amazing system. But if you just take a minute and just kind of run through the system from the tap to the spigot, and the magic that happens from start to finish.
Yeah, you gotta have pre-filters for reverse osmosis, because the chlorine and chemicals in the water are gonna wipe out the filter. So you got to hit it with some 5 micron, you want to hit it with some carbon before your RO. Give your RO life. Then after the reverse, so we call that state-of-the-art reverse osmosis. After the state-of-the-art reverse osmosis, you have to take it to another problem, because now we got to get the acids out. Reverse osmosis isn't going to get the chloride. It's not going to get the silica. They're super small. They're going to get through. It's going to actually let through some all the acids.
Yeah.
Sodium's going to go through too, but it gets water clean, nice and clean. Okay, but there's acids in it. So now you're going to come in. You're going to do deionization, what's called selective deionization. It's our process. We're the only ones that have this. I developed it, and this is going to buffer all volatile acids out of the water, but it's going to allow passage of weak acids, which is chloride and sodium.
The ones you
I
want.
mean, all acids. I mean, so silicic acid and carbonic acid.
Yeah.
So it's going to allow passage of carbonic acid and silicic acid. So it's still drinking water. It's also going to allow passage of weak bases, which is chloride and sodium and silica. Okay. Then we do the dual DI. Then we do what we call a dual remin. We have two remineralization cartridges with carbon and magnesium, carbon and magnesium. So we call it a dual remin. And then we have the remins, each one have a carbon in it. And then we have another bigger carbon after that, so called triple carbon polish. So we have dual DI, dual remin with a triple carbon polish. And this water is absolutely on point, crisp, clean, no smell, on the money, popping good. I mean, I have an $80,000 machine at my shop. I have a machine in my house. I don't bathe in tap water. So I have this water running through my whole house.
Yeah.
But the water that coming out of that machine, that's the water I drink. That water is 50 parts per million, 40 to 60 parts per million. It goes through the state-of-the-art RO, dual selective DI with a dual remin with a triple carbon polish. I did it. It took me years. I configured this thing every way I thought was possible, year after year. The water was good, and we
Uh-huh.
were in business, and people were grateful. But yeah, that was a tiny smell. Because if you know, and you know why they put lemon on fish? Because the acid gets rid of the smell. So when you take the acids out of water and you put magnesium in it, it's gonna have a fish smell.
Mm-hmm.
And I just accept that. I was like, hey, fuck it, it's gonna have a slight smell. If you don't like it, you can go your path and I'll drink this. And I configured, and after 15 years, everyone went, oh, good job, Glenn. We knew you could do it.
Yeah, I think,
Because I had some people, some professionals helping me,
yeah.
and they couldn't go there, which, I get it. And then, I had some other helpers that, went on their way, and it was like, okay, this is all you. So I had one of the guys that helped me with this, I just used it for sounding board. So I talked to myself. I had someone to explain shit to. And I walked myself through and I got it. And I finally told the one kid, I said, I'm just going to do this thing my way. I'm going to do it my way. I've always wanted to do this, and everyone and all the numbers kept coming back from the lab and all this shit. It was a nightmare. And I said, I just want to do it my way. And I did. And then everyone just so, oh my God, you did it. We didn't have one phone call years. No phone calls at all. Just happy customers, homeless
Everybody's
waters.
happy.
Oh
Well, what's
yeah.
what's really great is you offer it in numerous ways, right? You can have the system, you can have it under the counter, you could have a countertop. What's also great is a product like this one, where you can take it on the go. Now you've got your canned carbonated water that you can make your super duper water on demand.
Right.
So you really don't have an excuse
Yeah. You
not
just
not to
take
not to
some
do
of that
something
solution.
better.
Hey, you make the solution up and you pour half an ounce and 20 ounces, because the best way to get your water nutrients is in water, the way nature designed it, the way the Huns are drinking. So instead of taking a shot, which you can do, but I don't do that, I drink white water all day long, every day. And people, oh, it's going to screw it. Listen to me. Shut up. Okay. And I'll tell you this. Let me tell you this much. If you're doing ice baths, it is so hard on your mitochondria. It kicks everything in for energy, and it will deep. If you type in cold thermogenics and ice baths, you better be taking intercellular magnesium, because those things are called heart attack baths. Now, I personally don't take them, and I'm not going to say don't take them, but I'm going to tell you this much. If you're doing ice baths, you better be supplementing with magnesium bicarbonate,
All right.
because it's a major stress on you.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I have delved in I don't enjoy ice cold water. There's just something in my body says no, thank you. But I think that is going to be a topic for another show.
Yeah. I got Hey baby, I'm
No.
just getting warmed up.
Oh, I know.
This is off the top of my head.
All right, well, let's wrap it up here for today because this is going to be a mind splitter for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're going to have to watch and rewatch because this is the evolution. I'm going to call it the re-evolution of water. It used to be pristine, and then it just got pissed in and shit in and ruined. And
Air pollution equals water pollution.
you figured out how to make it pristine again through the same cycles that nature did it in the first place. And that's what people need to learn, and that's what people need to get back to.
I'm not, listen, once you get the chemistry down, there's really no other way.
Yeah.
And I didn't make the chemistry up. I didn't make all these things up. I'm just a guy that got sick and went, son of a bitch, I can't go down like this.
Yeah. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, and this is it. So, yeah, thanks a lot. I had a good time.
Yeah, you're always great to talk to. You're gonna be a you're gonna be a regular guest because there's
Yeah,
so many
hopefully.
topics. There's so many rabbit holes and red pills to dispense that
Oh, I can just trust me.
all
I'm
right.
a walking Encyclopedia Britannica on steroids.
I'm very aware of these things. So anyway, Glen Caulkins, Pristine Hydro. Links will be underneath the video. Let's get to it and rock and roll. Cheers.
One love.
Talk to you soon.